Hello, brothers and sisters. Raven here. I was expecting to go quite a ways through this document that we are looking at from Homestead Heritage, and expected I would have to read quite a bit before I would come to the next point, the next part where they would kind of let it out. I was expecting a lot of delay. As I read the first section, I found that's what it started with. It started with a lot of delay, a lot of talk about false teachings, about false ways of looking at it that many Christians would be against to make themselves look better like they do on their website. However, what was shocking was that it didn't take long before they went the other way, and more plainly than ever, in this document, they state it. They state it flat out. So I want to show you where they teach the teachings of the Antichrist. Now, there's a couple places in Scripture we've looked at before where they have brought up the passages, tried to make it sound like other Christians are the Antichrist by these passages, where it speaks of the denial of Jesus in the flesh being God, who he is. However, what they pushed so hard was that you had to take it as including the present tense, which I'll agree, that is part of it. However, the reason they put such a focus on this, made this so mandatory, I've explained before, but here they finally say it. They simply state it flat out. So that's what I wanted to show you today. This is page 5 of the document. After talking a bit about how some teachings teach that Jesus wasn't really in the flesh, he was just sort of an image. And they say he was flesh. But again, within their language, they try to make it sound like they're really teaching he is 100% man, 100% God, when that's not really what they mean. They do still see him as in literal flesh. But here's where the problem comes in. As they talk about these verses I just mentioned, they say this: all of these factors together strongly suggest that John primarily speaks not only of Jesus' incarnation as a man in Galilee, but more specifically, note that, more specifically, of Jesus coming in his corporate body of believers by the Spirit. A coming that began at Pentecost and continues to provide the reality of God's presence, the power of the Spirit, so that the whole church can be witnesses to me. That statement is blasphemous. It says more specifically. So what really makes the Antichrist to them is not denying Jesus' deity, not denying him as Lord come in the flesh, but denying them as Jesus, denying them as God in the flesh. They're saying it's more blasphemous to say they're not God than to say Jesus is not God. This is what I warned we would see in this. This is what I said they would be teaching by this. What I didn't expect was for them to say it so bluntly, for them to be this blasphemous, this openly. Because in the past, I've seen all these old documents, previous documents they've had, where they've sort of worded it in a way to make it sound better than it is. Make it sound not so bad. It wasn't until that recent proclamation we saw by Ozzy where you really saw that blasphemy, that Antichrist come out. So I didn't expect to see this. But there it is, plain as day. When right here, it is saying him come in the flesh is more important as the church than as Jesus. When they say that, that's it. Now, the rest of the document is ruined. I don't care what evidence they try giving, how they start changing their teachings and all of a sudden going against what they've said before as Jesus being God. They've already stated it's more important to see the body as God than him. So I don't care what they teach about him now. They're putting themselves above him. That's it. They've done it. Right there. They become an antichrist. So we'll keep going through this, but that right there, that should be it. That's the nail in the coffin. When you see a statement like that, that should be the end of it. It should be done. No more following this teaching. Because they're putting Jesus below them. It's even said a little bit earlier, where it even talks about this idea that Jesus makes us better than him, which is them twisting a passage in Philippians by leaving off a certain verse. So they very much are going in that direction of putting themselves above Christ. I really hope when you read it that plainly, you finally can admit, okay, yeah, this is wrong. If not, I'm worried. We'll see where it goes next, but if it keeps going this direction, this could get so blasphemous. Makes me a little nervous about reading more because I know it's going to make me mad. False teaching like that is the kind that just, you're asking for God's rage. See where it goes. Until then, God bless.